In this lecture, we are going to briefly explore databases and tables. In my browser, I have the Adminer application opened. For the rest of this section, you should have this program opened too. We are going to be repeatedly using it. Upon opening this tool, you may be presented with a list of tables available in your database. We're going to talk about tables, but first, let's look at how to access a database. At the top of the page, there's a breadcrumb menu. To the left, there's a link that says MySQL. Click on it. By default, Local will authenticate us into the database. As you can imagine, databases contain sensitive data. Before entering a database, we must have valid credentials. Adminer can log into a local database. However, we're not limited to local databases. Databases hosted publicly can be accessed. For this course, we're going to focus on the database installed in our environment. Let's try logging into our database. The first option is to select the type of database. Adminer supports various databases. Almost immediately, you may notice that MariaDB is not listed as an option. MySQL and MariaDB are treated as similar databases. It's safe to select the MySQL option. Adminer won't have a problem connecting with a MariaDB database. Next, we must provide a server. This option refers to the URL. Let's switch over to Local. Local will provide us with the information Adminer needs for logging into the database. The host field contains the URL. Typically, the URL to a local database has a domain called localhost. Let's pass this value into the server field. Next, let's pass in the username and password. Local will create a user for accessing the database. This user has complete access and permissions. You can find the credentials from Local. According to Local, the username and password are both root. Let's pass those into the form. Lastly, we must provide the name of the database. Multiple databases can exist within an environment. For example, we may have a database for WordPress and another database for payroll management. Both databases may exist in the environment, but they should be stored in separate databases. There isn't a reason for WordPress to have access to financial information for employees. This field is asking us to select a database. By default, Local will call our database Local. Let's input this database. Next, let's submit the form. After doing so, we're brought back to the same page as before. Being able to log into your database is important. At the very least, your client will ask for the URL, username, password, and database. Within a database, we have a list of tables. Tables are groups of data. They're very similar to spreadsheet software like Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. WordPress will create 12 tables. We have a table for comments, posts, and users. Before digging into a table, let's talk about the information associated with each table. Specifically, let's focus on the engine and collation columns. An engine is responsible for processing commands given to the table. It'll determine what features are available in a table. There are dozens of engines available. Each engine supports different features. WordPress recommends an engine called InnoDB. This engine is the default engine for most tables. It's a general-purpose engine that covers most use cases. When in doubt, you should select this engine for your table. We won't dive into the details. However, when working with the database, choosing the right engine will provide the best experience. Next, let's talk about the collation column. Data can contain text. Storing text is not as simple as it seems. In our world, there are hundreds of languages with their own character set. For example, Japanese is not written the same as English. The Japanese language has a unique set of characters. Databases can support various character sets. In some cases, you may want to support everything. WordPress recommends the UTF-8 MB4 Unicode CI collation. This character set supports various languages. from Arabic to French to Chinese. Overall, it's a great character set. Let's start viewing a table. I'm going to select the WP Posts table. Next, let's select the Select Data link. On this page, we are presented with the data stored in the table. To the surprise of no one, data is stored in a literal table. Records are stored in rows. We are given a clear view of the relationship between each piece of data. At the top of the table, we are given column names. They clearly describe the type of data found under each column. For example, the Post Title column contains the title of each post on our site. One of the first posts is called Sample Page. This post is created by WordPress for fresh installations. Being able to search through the database is nice, but it may not be easy with thousands of posts. Let's start exploring queries. A query is a request to the database for performing a specific action. We can create tables, select data, change data, or delete data. There are dozens of actions that can be performed. In the next lecture, we are going to create a table for experimenting with queries.